Yeah, hello, greetings from Mexico. Okay, so wait a second, I'm trying to share my screen. Also waiting for Sergio. Just give me 2 or 3 minutes, just waiting till more people will come inside.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hello, welcome everybody. How are you? Good afternoon, good day,
Doing great, sir.
good night. Is George here? Hello, George. I don't know if George is here. I think George is not yet here. Well, let's interact a little bit. How's everybody here? My name is Sergio Garcia Agreda. I am a professor in international and digital business from Bolivia. How's everybody? Well, if you want to introduce yourself, please go ahead. Now is the time. Who wanna talk?
Hello, sir. Satyam this side from India.
Hello, my friend. You're in India. In which part?
Currently in Bihar.
We are, muy bien. And what you are doing? What you are studying?
In my final year of graduation,
In what field?
BBA International Business.
Ah, incredible. Good. It's a good field. I love that field. Well, I saw right
Thank you.
now George. Hello, George. How are you? We'll interact with the
Hello.
students a little bit.
Yeah, hello,
Hi.
hello. I just have finished my other lecture with Germany, so this is the reason why I just needed to take another coffee. Yeah, so today we have an interesting session. So now there are, how many people are inside now? Let me check. 16. And the next week it will be a little bit earlier. Why? Because I have a lecture in Germany, and you will get some homework for the next week, but only just to read. And then in the next week we have 2 or 3 breakout rooms or more within the session. So today we are going. So Sergio and me. So Sergio is in Bolivia. I'm in Mexico. So today we will give you a little bit of lecture of culture, cultural differences, and that you get some background information. And in the next week, I will give you the precise time, and we make roughly 2 hours, to 2 times 60 minutes. We will have a lot of different parts and different exercises for you, and perhaps where you can also interact, first of all, with others, also from Germany and from Bahamas, but also where you can present a little bit the topic, what you discussed, and that you can also be active here, and that we have this interaction. So first of all, you are all now in the learning platform, and you are all now going through the text. And so what is your experience so far with the text? And also, did you start with the group case study. Did you know how to do it? Perhaps you can also give some feedback from your perspective. So it is always individual learning, and then there's group learning. Then we have here the lectures, and from next week on, we will have also some group work inside our sessions where you can connect with other students from different parts of the world and to make it real an international or global program. So that you get to it. But perhaps give some parts of the how did you find the text and the review questions and what you need to do. Perhaps you can give some feedback. So anybody, or Satyam, would you like to, because you are now with your camera, so are you in the platform and are you going through the material?
Yes, sir. But to be frank, I have not started yet doing the answers. But I have seen the questions.
Okay.
I have seen the questions, and I will start it.
Okay, so in India, you now have exams right now, or is it end of the semester, or what? No, with you not. Okay.
No, sir.
Okay, yeah, perhaps anybody else. So Mrs. Müller, you are inside?
Yes, I'm here. Yes, so I finished already the text, the individual learning, and now I'm waiting for some teammates for doing the team part.
Okay.
So, yes.
So others perhaps need to speed up. I mean, you must get familiar. It takes a little bit of time, but it is always individual, and then the group. Then you can see the names of the others. Perhaps it would even be good if you upload a photo there. And yeah, perhaps Jens, you're also inside, no?
Yes.
So do you have also some questions?
No.
Okay. So yeah. So let's start with our session so far, and you can always write me an email, or here you have the WhatsApp number. I mean, we have the group. When you're not in the WhatsApp group, you also need to write me an email. Then I will put you into the WhatsApp group. So like I said, today we have background of cultural differences, and in the next week you will get some text to prepare, only to read till next week, and then you are put into groups and you discuss what you read with your own experiences. So it is always relevant to talk about, from the Indian perspective, is this, from the perspective from Bahamas, is this, from the perspective of the Germans, is this, so that you understand that there are differences in how to negotiate with negotiation styles, how to communicate. Now, today we will talk a little bit about low and high context cultures, but this is very relevant, that you can see you are coming from this cultural area and the other ones from a different one, but how do you connect with them? How do you find a way of that the other ones understand your perspective, and not just saying this is the right perspective and your one is the wrong one? So this is very relevant for you to see that there is not the one and only culture. It is a matter on how to connect and how to find a way to follow one vision or mission and one direction to make a business to grow and to make it successful. And the way a business is in Germany or in India, it could be completely different because of this institutional or these different institutions like wholesaler, or the retail is working differently, perhaps even to pay is differently. So I mean, for example, even in Brazil, in Sao Paulo, I paid everything with my credit card, even chewing gums. But for example, in Minas Gerais, which is 1,000 kilometers away, all people want cash. And also in Germany, it depends on the uncertainty avoidance, what we talk about today. So the Germans are more risk averse. So they are not trusting in the beginning. Even if you would like to sell them something, they are always skeptical. So you always need to signal a quality issue. So this is a good product. It was rated in a quality report as good or very good, and then they trust you. But they don't trust you when you say, "Oh, I'm selling you something," and this is different. So also the advertisement in the television in Germany is different than in other countries. So Germans like to have cash within their purse. They don't trust the machines. They don't trust the parts. I mean, in Netherlands or in Norway, it's completely different. There are even cities in Norway where you cannot pay cash anymore. You pay everything with your smartphone. But I'm telling you, these are small differences, but having a big effect. When you say you would like to sell more credit cards in Germany, then you would say it's not a good strategy because people have a higher uncertainty avoidance. So this concept might work in the neighboring countries, but perhaps might not good work in Germany. Only one small example that not there is one concept and works everywhere. So you always need to focus on this background. Okay, so I think that we can start here with Sergio and me, and to talk a little bit about cultural definitions. I mean, something you perhaps might have heard also within your international business studies. I mean, Hofstede is, I think, worldwide known. But the point is that also culture is a little bit about our behavior, about how we interpret informations. And this is also that culture is communication. So the way we communicate depends on our culture. So some giving negative feedback, some others said no, in China it's not possible. So we will talk about different concepts today, and concepts relevant for you to know because this international business is not in some kind of vacuum. So we have contacts via telephone or via Skype or via Zoom, and we have never been there. So culture is all around us. I mean, even when you look in Germany, you have big Turkish subculture. So you have even smaller cities where only people speak Turkish. So for example, in Berlin, so some of the police officers, they need to learn Turkish in Berlin because the people cannot speak German and they're living in Germany. So and they have different telephone contracts with Turkish. They have Turkish stores, foods to buy and anything. So their whole life is Turkish, but within Germany. So this subcultures. But also when you're going outside, you will have a Mexican restaurant in my home city. You will have a Spanish restaurant. You will have an Indian restaurant. So even when you're going outside your door, it is going to be internationally, multinational. McDonald's, Burger King. I mean, these are coming from other countries. I mean, they are good in adapting it to the local context, but the globalization or internationalization might even start. I mean, look at your clothes today. So when you say I'm from India, but are you wearing Nike shoes? Do you have a Louis Vuitton bag? The sunglasses comes from Italy. Some products are from China. I mean, look at what you are wearing at your body. This is internationalization, globalization. So it starts already with buying different clothes. So not even food, but clothes. It starts that you say, I'm a global citizen. I mean, why is Starbucks so successful, or McDonald's? Because you're part of this global American dream. You are part of, you're a global citizen. I mean, this is also marketing. I mean, the products are also more expensive, but you are a global citizen with this when you buy that. You feel like, oh, I'm in New York, but now I'm in India, but I'm part of this community. And this is what we will talk a little bit about. So at the end, when you would like to break culture down in easy words, it is some kind of collective phenomenon. It is something like a small group of people. It can even be 3 people sharing similar interpretation, perception, and sense making. So when you say my best friends like Bayern Munich, so the football club, then you have a culture. It is already a culture because you like the players, you like the club, you have same interpretation of a circum issue. So always a culture, when you reduce it very, very simply, it is a group of people sharing similar ways of thinking, perceiving, interpreting, and making sense. But culture on this case is also mostly we don't think about it. We live here. We know how to go to a bus station and taking a seat and waiting in front of a shop, but this could be sometimes very differently. No? So and you only think about culture when you're going out of your region or going outside your home country. So this is something you normally don't think about. No? You are grown up in a family in a different area, or you had parents going from one country to the other one, being expatriates, staying 2 years in China, 3 years in India, in Russia, or in Europe. Then you would see the differences. But normally you are in your, perhaps you might move into a different city or even in India into the bigger cities. But the people normally you could understand the language and the socializing is more or less equal. No? So culture means communication. So when I'm talking with you, I have the cultural roots in Germany, and Sergio has them in Bolivia, but we are taking a secondary language. So my first language is German, and Sergio's is Spanish. So sometimes we even use different words. I know that the English language has 3 times more words than the German language. So we have, I mean, there's also Australian English, perhaps it's Indian English, it's American English, and in Africa, and I don't know. So there are a lot of countries taking English as their first language. Sometimes they have more this word, perhaps in the United Kingdom, so in England, they use words which perhaps you would say in India. No, this one we are not using in English. I mean, it is English, but we are using them in a different context. So, and this is something very relevant. Perhaps also Sergio can tell you something about communication. So how is the communication in Bolivia? So how do you speak perhaps with people in Bolivia? So how is Spanish? The language Spanish itself might be. I mean, I know that the language of Portuguese is very loud, and people. There are 6 people at the table, and 6 people are talking. And me as a German, in the beginning I was overwhelmed. I said, "Hey, I need to take a break. I need to go out. It's too much. Everybody is speaking, and in Germany normally you wait and you listen to them, but everybody is speaking. But perhaps now it's Spanish. So what is the Spanish language, or is there a difference between Spanish from Spain and Spanish from Bolivia?"
No, of course, Georgie.
Yeah,
But well,
perhaps.
first of all, when you talk about organizational culture, or culture by itself, it's a world of meanings. No, it's a combined world of meanings for a group of people, and what we have like a common identification of what we are think is our culture is different for a different person of different countries. Spain is practically have we a lot of similarities with Latin America, but a lot of strong differences. What we put together is all of us are Latinos, no? And the people who are Latino is more, I don't know, we have in our in our DNA or something, we are more, I don't know, hospitality. We have more charismatic, you know. The people love to interact with other people's, you know. The Latino is frequently more oriented to do stuff with passion, you know, with love, more romantic, more party people, you know. They love to sing, to dance. And if you see that in Latin America, you could see that also in Spain, French, Italy, Greece, because they are Latinos too, Portugal, you know. But when you focus in Latin America, the difference between Europe is because the interaction with the German, Norwegian, England, no people, that you are more direct, more focused in the work, more punctual, no. The Spain people are more progressive, you know. And then when you come to Latin America, we have some things that make that Latin America not progress so much. No, not all the regions, but some regions in Latin America are not progressing. No, we are underdeveloping world. You know, because we have some things in the culture that make us weaker. Now, for example, I know that corruption is everywhere, but here in Latin America is more used to see the people trying to have things more easy than the other. You know, we call in Spanish viveza criolla. Viveza criolla, it means that you could do stuff easy, no, with not have to work. No, you try to do this with a lot, like a wise guy, you know, like astucia, no? And these things are not good for our country. But if you see the positive thing in Latin America, no, we have a combined symbols in our culture. And Bolivia is truly different to Peru and Brazil or Argentina because we have our own language. We have our own, I don't know, things that we are really like, you know, and that make us unique from the different part of Latin America, you know. And even so, in Bolivia, we have three different regions that are totally different in Bolivia, like a culture. For example, if you go to the Cordillera, to Andean region, that is La Paz, Potosí, and Oruro, that are very, very huge places to doing business right now. And Potosí, for example, is the desert of salt, the lithium, Uyuni, that lithium right now is one of the main activities right now for the world because the batteries, you know, and a lot of
Lithium,
the lithium, and a lot of companies are trying to come to Bolivia to develop the lithium in the desert, you know, and we have the huge reserve, it is the most important reserve of lithium of all the world, you know, and this is in Potosí, in Oruro, and La Paz is like the highest capital in the world, you know. These three zones, the cultural is more conservative, is more focusing like European, you know, are more punctual, are more focused in the study, you know, and the knowledge. If you go to the middle, you have the valleys. In the valleys, the people are like more focus oriented to the family, you know, are more like the farms, you know, the agriculture, the tourism. You have there Sucre, you have Tarija, and you have Cochabamba, where the people love to live very good, you know, with the food, you know. And if you go to the llanos, no, where the people here is more warm, more heat, is more near to the Amazonas, you have Santa Cruz, Pando, and Beni. That region is the region more developed in Bolivia because the people there are more entrepreneur. They are more focused in doing business. They are more focused in invest, you know. And when you come into Bolivia, you have the three different regions, but all are Bolivians. And in Latin America, it's the same. Is the combined of symbolic and aspects that you define, like here's a culture. And when you put that in a company, you create your own language. And that's what we are teach here. No, when you have a company, you have to create your own language, the language of the company. Disney do that, for example. When you work in Disney, they tell you, do you speak Disney? Do you talk like us? Do you understand what we believe and what we support of? And when you are building a company, a global company, you have to create your own similar symbols and aspects that everybody support, understand, and practice that, you know. And that thing is the main talking when we are a global citizen, Georgie. You have to understand different cultures, be tolerant with everybody, no, respect the differences. But when you create a company, you have to put together your own symbols and your own beliefs like a company. We are not talking about religious. We are talking about beliefs on the company, of integrity, of values, no? And I have a lot of examples, but I'm going to tell you more about how companies create his own culture to create a global impact in the world, no? That's what we have here, Georgie.
I have only one question to you, Sergio. So now you have done your PhD in Valencia. So you're coming with the Spanish language. Normally, there is not a big difference. No? So, but perhaps what are the differences? So Bolivian student, PhD student in Valencia, in Europe. So what were your biggest obstacles? So what was for you strange or very different from South America, so from Bolivia? So when you arrived there, I mean, the language, first people would say it's similar, but what was different? Perhaps only a couple of experiences.
Oh, well, like I told you, no, the people in Bolivia are more friendly. No, when you saw everything in Europe, no, they are more polite. The Spain people are very polite, no, and they are very honest. They're very trustful, no. But when you think in Bolivian people, the Bolivian people are more, I don't know how can I say, we are more emotional, you know. And then you have to understand there how to respect the boundaries of everybody, not how to talk. You know, for example, when you shake hands, in Bolivia is directly like a hug, you know. Hey, come on, hello, my friend, you know. Mi casa su casa, come on here, join me, no, you know. We are very open. If you come here and you have contact with someone, and a very good contact, no, the people invite you directly to his house, no, give you what he has in the refrigerator, you know, and it maybe it's not much, but they give you like a heart, no? And then in other cultures, like the European ones, no, or Spain, you have to understand that it is not easy to get in contact really directly with someone, no? You have to first know each other, no, interact, like you say, no, create confidence, and then you start to go to the house and everything, you know. But for me, it was very good because it was very easy because I have a friend there, like my compadre, my compita. Now we say compadre when you have very good friend in this really great bond. And I have a double degree. My degree was in Bolivia and Spain. I have to travel to Spain, but no life there a lot, you know. And I go like a lot of time, but every time I go with my compita, my compadre, no, Daniel. He was my tutor, my mentor in the PhD, and he introduced me to his community, and that is very important. Every time you go to other place, you have to be there someone to introduce to the culture, you know. And for example, if you come here, Georgia, you have a lot of friends right now in Bolivia, no? And then it's well like you are Bolivian, yeah, here. And that's what happened with me. When I go to Spain, it was like I was in Spain too. And I could change, you know, and hola tío, ¿cómo estás, macho? No, and comienza, you have to talk like them, no? And then they have the different accents on something, and you learn about, for example, the rituals. Something very interesting in, for example, for the weekends there, and they go to little towns with his families. And for example, in Valencia, it was very something that I love to when Daniel, my friend, invited me to at his house, in a small town with his family, and there he cook like a paella, but very homemade paella with an oven, with a lot of things that the region, it was a spectacular meal. And in Bolivia is the same. When you create a very content, we invite you here to have a parrillada. A parrillada is like a barbecue, but very very with a lot of friends, with a guitar or something. And it is put people inside his family. Open the house, and when you have like ambassadors in everywhere, friends that help you to interact in the community is more easy. For me, it was very easy because I have a lot of friends there in Valencia, and then in other regions, Barcelona, for example. When I go to Barcelona or Paris, or Italy, then what helped me to become a global citizen, Jordan. I was part of an organization when I was young. It calls Junior Chamber International. Is the main organization for active citizens, young active citizens, to become leaders. Right now I am a senator from that organization, but that organization is in 120 countries all around the world, and I've been in a lot of conferences of JCI. In that conference, I become friend of a lot of different citizens from all around the world, from India, for example, for Africa, from Europe, from Australia, Latin America, a lot of. And I have for example, one example very, very interesting. The first time I go to Peru, it was in 2008. Yeah. And I was for my honeymoon, and then I go for a honeymoon. It was have to be a week there, and I stay like 2 months because my wife talked with a friend from the JCI's Peru, and was so much hospitality that invited me directly to give some workshops there, webinars and everything. And every time it was another activity, and work with my wife. My wife was working in something, and project here, project there, that was sustainable. And we have to take a decision because I was opening a company in Peru. I was job offerings, me and my wife. My wife was on a very good job offering in Ica to build houses because it was an earthquake there. And imagine it was restoring. Peru is what? Peru is becoming to dynamize his economy again. It is where a lot of opportunities. And my wife tell me, for me, the family is very important, Sergio. And I think we do a lot of here, but we live here a company, and we come back to do what we are doing in Bolivia. And we come back because family for us is very important. I am living right now in Cochabamba, Georgie, because my family, by heritage, because I have offers to live in a lot of places all around the world, but I love where I am living. And that is very important for a Latino, the family. And I don't live like I will live in Peru or in Spain if I don't have the contacts that I made in my life, And right now I have very good friends in Lima. I have my own club there, business club, that I am a member. And right now my friends become part of a university named ESAN that is #1 in Peru. And every time I go, I have friends from the Sun and interact. It's like they are putting me together like a Peruvian guy. And that's my advice to everybody. If you have that, when you go to other countries, you are going to be more easily become part of the culture. And how you do this? Like, for example, here, George, you have a lot of people, no? Then try that they interact to get each other. No, obviously you have to take care because in every part of the world you have good people and bad people, you know. But when you come here and you have the recommendation, like the people here have recommendation of very good schools, and that's what we suppose that are very, very good people here, and you have to trust in them, no? The
Yeah.
first thing is trust. The first thing is open to know different people, and when you do that, you have friends all around the world. You
Yeah.
have to willing to trust, and first thinking everybody is good, you know.
Yeah, we will have a group for next week on the topic of building trust. So I will send you some papers. So we will build groups for next week with different topics, negotiation, trust, and some others. Yeah, thank you very much, Sergio, for your points. I mean, I can give an example. I'm 10 days in Mexico. I was yesterday invited for dinner with a professor. In Germany, I was never invited to one of my colleagues and professors. Yes, I'm 10 days here. And I'm invited for dinner in the house, getting to know the kids and being there 4 hours, drinking tequila and some, not so much, but getting tequila here in Mexico is famous. And yeah, and this is an experience. It's an experience for me as well as a German, because I'm not used to it. In Germany, I was never invited to anybody at the homes places, not in the restaurant, it's different, but in the homes places. And here I'm 10 days. No? So just a comparison between all. I mean, Mexico is North and Middle America. But most of the country of Mexico is North America, like the United States and Canada. I mean, if you can watch it geographically. Okay, so thank you. So I will get to you, Sergio, within a couple of minutes again. But thank you for your experience and also the viewpoint of South America and the family issues. No? So this is very relevant also perhaps in doing marketing to relate some products also concerning to the family. Yeah, culture is mostly unaware based on norms, values, rules. No? He also said something about punctuality. No? So in Germany, it's very relevant. It is a sign of trust. And it is a sign of respect. So you must be on time with your friends and in business. This is in Germany very, very relevant. Now, I have friends for more than 20 years. And when I'm coming 10 or 15 minutes too late and I'm not communicating, they are going. And I know them for 20 years because it is a sign of trust. To tell people and respect, to tell people I'm late. Okay, there might be problems with your smartphone, then they would say, okay, but normally they will go to a different place or they will even go home. And even when you know them for a very, very long time, but it is part of the values in Germany. The value is to be on time. You got invited, you must be on time. 8 o'clock is 8 o'clock. It's not 9 o'clock to arrive. It's 8 o'clock to arrive. And this is respect because they prepare for you. On the other side, it is just like it is planned. When you go to your friend and they invite you, it is planned. It is planned at least 1 week before. Nobody's saying, please come in 3 hours to my house. Nobody will do it. In Germany, it is planned next Friday at 6 o'clock. Then the room is cleaned, good food is bought, enough drinks are there. You don't need to bring anything. In Brazil, it's different. In Brazil, it is, let's go to the supermarket. We buy some beer, we buy some food, or we buy some Coca-Cola drinks, refrigerante it's called. And then you're making a party. People knock at your door and say, I'm here. I have experienced it a lot in Brazil. And in Germany, they would say, hey, what are you doing here? Go home. We don't have an appointment now. I'm busy. Okay. So culture difference. So the point is that we are all wearing glasses. But the point is you must be a little bit of aware. So I cannot say to my Mexican students or Brazilian students, hey, punctuality is very important and blah, blah, blah. It is a German standard. And with Germans, it functions well. But when you're doing cross-cultural business, you must find a way of explaining it to them, because they don't have the glasses. They don't know it. They even perceive it differently. So people in Germany get crazy when the train comes 5 minutes late. They're calling and they want their money back. It's 5 minutes late. And you would say, hey, I'm happy that the train arrives anyhow. But not in Germany. The people are on punctuality. And they got crazy if the system doesn't work. So what also Sergio said to you, the DNA of a company or the values, he talks about values, is about, so a company culture establishes in how they solve conflict in the past. So did they make some big mergers? Did they get a big deal with another country or anything? So the point is that we have inside the company, we have visible and invisible parts. Visible parts are clothing. Starbucks has a specific dress. He talks about Disney culture. They have a specific way of speaking or animating people. The symbols, Sergio talks a lot about symbols. These are visible things. The Apple sign, the McDonald's sign, the Coca-Cola sign, all you know. But you don't know, how is it to work for Coca-Cola? How do they solve problems? How do people collaborate? How is the relationship of a boss? Can you disagree or not? Is this American style or not? So this is what you can't see. When you see a lot of companies are changing, adapting a digital company or a different business model, it's to change the iceberg underwater. For example, we have a German telecommunication provider. So it was liberalized 15 years ago. The people had the mentality of 9-to-5 job. They're going there, they get the salary. Every 2 years, they got more money. They are getting a better position. And then came the liberalization. Then came Vodafone and other big players into Europe, and then said, okay, now we need to change. We need to be innovative. We need to be fast reacting. We need to adapt our strategy. We need to adapt our business model. So we need a different mindset of people. We need a change. And we need different norms and values. And this is very time consuming. You cannot change a company within a couple of weeks. I mean, you can do a merger, but you need to arrange the way of thinking. When you need to rethink, you need to be more competitive. You need to react fast on emails. And this is something which takes time. And some people said, no, I don't want. I'm getting my money at the end of the month. I'm doing nothing else. Okay, when you have such people in a liberalized market, what are you doing? Some of them you cannot fire. You cannot fire them because they have contracts, and they have, when they're not doing anything terrible or scandal, then you cannot fire them. But how to motivate them to do more than 9-to-5 job? So this is culture. This is people. People are resistant, and this is sometimes people get they are called golden handshakes. I'm paying you 3 salaries, but please go out of the company. And I'm even giving you the pension rate 2 years earlier, but please go outside. Now, I know it. In telecommunication Germany, they are doing it. They give a lot of money that you can go out. And some people are taking it and some not. Subcultures. We talked about Turkish cultures in Germany, but there's this Bosch culture, BMW, L'Oreal. So L'Oreal, for example, L'Oreal has a conflict culture. If you would like to have a job free of conflicts, don't go to L'Oreal. They always look for the best products. When you have a proposal, they will say, no, this is not good. This is there now. We don't think this could work. And you're going out of the meeting and say, hey, what's happening here? But this is L'Oreal. So it's not an easy life. You must love the job of conflict. You must love it. because it is part of the French culture. The French culture is very direct in giving negative feedback. When they don't like anything, they will let you know. They tell you, they shout you and say, no, we are not doing it. And you say, oh, what's going on here? No, I never experienced it. That somebody's talking to me, no, in such a way, in such emotional way. No? So a culture is visible parts and invisible. The visible parts you can easily change. You can go into a different building, people can see it, even when you're having a Christmas dinner with the company, or you can go into restaurants. These are the people from Siemens. Look, they are behaving. They are giving each other presents for Christmas. This you can observe. What you cannot observe is how are people writing emails. Where are conflicts? Do women get the same salary as men? Who is the boss? And who is going to get the next position? This is what you don't see. You don't see it. You can see a Mercedes-Benz. You can see the quality, but you don't know how it is built. You don't know how people get motivated, get incentives to work there. You don't know what food they eat if you're not part of this inside corporation. So culture is learned. Culture depends on a group of people, at least 2 to 3 people. And the other thing is the connection to personality, which is experience. It is, I have made bad experience with some Germans in my holidays, but this is your personal story. The point is that when you have prejudice, perhaps also about Pakistan or some other things, you get messages in the news and television. The point is you can only change your mindset with making positive experiences. They said, oh no, people in Brazil are completely different as what they show in the television. I've made positive experiences. Or you have also sometimes, like Sergio said, there are also some bad people there that he said, I met 2 or 3 Turkish people, they all want my money and they are not really interested in me. And yeah, I mean, this could also happen, but then you are in this mindset and you can only change this again by making positive other experiences. So this is the way. No? So there are different categories on cultures. You can even say women and men are differently. No? I mean, also the conflicts between men and women and different issues. So you can also say it is a different kind of culture. No? But this is something what you're used to. Yeah, the culture onion also from Hofstede, but this is one important definition for you. It is the collective programming of the spirit that differentiates the members of one group from the people in another. So the group context is relevant in culture, and that you share different perception, interpretation, sense making to others. Visible and invisible. For example, visible parts like Sergio said, the symbols. Sometimes we also have stories. I mean, look at Steve Jobs from Apple. He was Apple. He was a marketing man. He was giving a lot of innovations. He was a front man. Like Mark Zuckerberg for Facebook. These are the heroes. They have established the company, or they were part right from the beginning. You know them. And these are people representing. Like for Germany would say Angela Merkel. I mean, she was 16 years their chancellor. But some other parts, values, basic assumption, perhaps you don't know. So how is it to work for Tesla, for this boss who is having emotional ups and downs, and people needs to work 70 hours till they burn out? And this is something which you get through the lines. So how is this the leadership behavior of working for Tesla? So this is something where you must be an insider. And this is sometimes difficult. The point is that when you would like to be more open-minded to other cultures, don't evaluate. It is the evaluation. This is good, this is bad. Oh, in India it looks ugly and it is not clean, the streets. And so this is you evaluate, you make, you have values. And when you say, okay, it is a complete different culture or religion, I accept it, and I'm not having any prejudice. So the evaluation makes us feel big conflicts. So la punctuality, oh, the Mexican coming 10 minutes too late. This is not respectful for me as a German. And no, it is a different cultural context. It is not German-like, but you must identify, oh, this comes from Germany. Punctuality. It is in my, we are saying it in German, it is in my clothes. I have it in my clothes, punctuality. But you must get familiar. You must see what is trust. How is the definition of trust in India? When do you trust your neighbor? When do you trust your friend? When do you trust your boss? But it could be completely different of how you build trust in Germany. And this is what you will do for the next week. No, I'm not telling you too much about trust because we will hear it next week about what is your trust rucksack? What is your trust you have within your clothes? No? And perhaps in Brazil, people trust less than perhaps people in Norway, but this is what you need to read, what you need to find out, and what you will discuss within your groups in the next week. Oh, but in India, it's completely different. But even in India, in different regions, it could even be also more different. Like in Brazil, I mean, with 27 states, or here in Mexico, it might even be also completely different. No, I'm not talking about the architecture of buildings and anything, but the way is, how do people connect in order to build trust? Yeah, rituals, this is what you can see. You can see Easter break. How was the big festival named in India? Diwali, or what is the name? I don't know it. There was something big. There was something
Yes,
big.
sir.
How is it called?
Diwali.
Yeah, so I mean, I've seen a lot at LinkedIn. No, so a German company said, "Oh, we celebrate with our Indian people Diwali." But what is Diwali? I haven't checked it, but perhaps you can tell me something. Why is Diwali important? Because I would say 5 years ago or 10 years ago, I haven't heard anything about it. But now it is relevant that Siemens said Happy Diwali or any. But what is Diwali about? Perhaps you can say it. I mean, we have also some Germans here inside, some others. What is Diwali?
Sir, on this day, mainly you see the India has mainly the Hindu as their major population.
Yeah.
So in our religion, we have a Lord named as Ram. So on that day, after 14 years of his living in the forest and outside of his home totally, after 14 years, he came back to his home place, like hometown, that is Ayodhya. So on that day he came. So because of that, we celebrate Diwali on the because he came to his home place on that day. This is the history. Why do we celebrate Diwali? But also in Diwali, the sales, the economic activities is at its maximum peak in India. Like in the Diwali season, maximum of the the economic activities takes place if you compare it with the other weeks or even months.
Okay, so sometimes like Black Friday in the United States or anything. So this is crazy than in India.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and when you're making commercials or advertisements in the television, it's even very expensive, I think. Like doing a commercial in this NFL World Cup, no? The NFL Finals. But how long is Diwali celebrated, and how long are the stores making advertisement? I mean, I'm giving you an example. I mean, you can find Christmas foods in Germany, I think at the end of September. They are making advertisement for Christmas end of September when it is on the 24th of December. But how is it with Diwali? So are they making advertisements? How long is the celebration itself? Is it 1 day, 2 days, or perhaps can you give me a little bit more of information?
All right. So Diwali is mainly only celebrated 1 day, but we do have a pre-Diwali. That is before Diwali, we also celebrate one day as like a little brother of Diwali, you can say, you can call it as. So basically 2 days. But before before the 2 days of Diwali, we also have Dhanteras, which is also a festival. And before that, roughly 20 days, 18 or 20 days, I'm not sure, we also have Dasara. So, and after Diwali, after 1 week of Diwali, we also have one more festival called named as Chhat. It is mainly celebrated in Bihar, Jharkhand, and UP, and these areas only. So this whole approximately 1 month, you will see there are many festivals in this area, in this time frame, basically. So because of this, and also Dasara is celebrated for 10 days. So it is, the final is on the 10th day, but the celebrations are done in entire 10-day time period. So the whole month roughly, or more than 1 month, 1.5 roughly. So this time frame is having lots of festivals, and due to that, the companies try to enrich on that thing.
Yeah, also like I'm giving you the example. Halloween. So end of October. I think it was not popular 7 or 8 years ago, not in Germany, but these are all products to advertise. These are all products to get more money for the supermarkets, and even Black Friday. I think it's only for 2 or 3 years now in Germany. Perhaps in some other countries it's perhaps 10 years. I don't know, but these are also concepts. What do I have to do with Halloween? I'm in Germany, and we had a different. We also have a bank holiday the next day after Halloween, but this was not traditional. This is not traditional. This is not in our culture, but integrated perhaps also from the supermarkets or from the retail industry or anything, that you get different products with this Halloween issues, the masks and anything, and the makeup, and so yeah. But this is something which is also due to this globalization, and so I'm telling you, so that cultures also can change. We have in Germany, we also have some specific names which are not in German, which are only in English within our language. So this came up the last 10 to 15 years. So a little bit of Americanization, or however you call it. So what I'm telling you is that culture could be on an organizational level, but also on a national level. So our German culture is also changing due to globalization, like having Halloween as a traditional part, and they show it in the news. Today there's Halloween, a lot of people dressed up, but this is the influence from different countries that you can see in this. Okay, yeah, thank you very much for your comments on Diwali, because I did not know it, and now I have a better perception. But it is mostly 4 or 5 weeks, different smaller parts and around Diwali of advertising. Yeah, heroes, I think symbols are clear. The dress code. The point is that also culture might be very different within a single company, because we have different departments. And you would also say, oh, look, on the campus, these are the engineering students, these are the marketing people, these are the finance people, these are the IT people, these are the biotechnology students. You also categorize in this case, or you also say they have a different viewpoints, or these are the nerds, and these are the more intellectual people, and you can even look the marketing students having different clothes, perhaps they present themselves also. So this is what you need to take into consideration. And these have sometimes, or in most cases, different perception, different interpretation, and different sense-making issues of some issues. So you can see cultures within that. Okay. Perhaps you can. We have here 2 to 3 2 to 3 points, and perhaps you can just go into yourself, perhaps for 4 or 5 minutes only. So not a group work, like I said, we are doing next week the group works, but you can try to think about. Okay, you had a specific trip, you have a specific issue abroad, but how did it change you, perhaps? No, so I mean, I lived 7 years in Austria, Austria, so next to Germany, not Australia, Austria. And I like to drink coffee, and the coffee culture is much more developed than in Brazil. I mean, in Brazil, you can buy coffee, but in Brazil, most people are not drinking a coffee after lunch. They look like if I'm from a different planet. And I'm saying, hey, but the coffee comes from Brazil. Yes, no culture. No, there is no coffee culture in Brazil. I'm telling it. I mean, in Sao Paulo, some people drink coffee after lunch, but in some others, they said coffee is in the morning. Why should I drink coffee in the afternoon? And I mean, here in Mexico, it's different. People also drink coffee, perhaps of this United States, close. But this is what I implement in my day. After Austria, I implement a coffee break, 20, 30 minutes, not hours, to talk with other people, to interact, to take my time. This is what I integrated in my life. If I haven't been to Austria, I wouldn't have implemented this, perhaps. But perhaps you have some other examples. No? I mean, they could even be also bad examples, like you getting robbed or anything, and you said, okay, now I'm a little bit more fear, and this may had an influence on my behavior, and so you can make positive or negative. It doesn't matter, but about how did it, what kind of impact does it have? Okay, so I'm giving you 5 minutes. Perhaps we have 1 or 2 voices of what does this cross-cultural experience have made with you? Perhaps also Sergio can tell us something. So what did you adapt from Spain?
No, well, what I want to tell you, because I have to in a few minutes have to go in a meeting there, is when you are going to be part of a different culture, or you are adapting in a culture in a company, or you are trying to be part of. Right now the world has changed so much, that all of us have impact of different cultures. We have impact on a culture like a German culture. Everybody knows, and when you see a German person, that is going to be a person that is very punctual, very hardworking, efficient. Like, for example, you see someone from Netherlands, you're going to know that the Netherlands people is very direct, very sharp. The French are very, how can I say, very honest, but very direct, and it doesn't. For example, if you go to French and you don't speak French, you are in trouble. You say, when you are coming in a country and you didn't know how to communicate with someone in his language. It is. I only see that in France. In every part of the world you could talk English and you're okay. But you go to French, to Paris, and if you don't know how to speak the basic rules, you are lost. Because it's very difficult to interact with French people if you don't speak French.
Yeah.
And if you go to every part when we talk Spanish, we talk Spanish and we talk Spanglish, you know, we create a combination with English and Spanish. And because our ambassadors are the musicians, you know, Despacito, Paso Pasito, Despacito, they did the songs, you know, and everybody knows the songs in Latino songs because of the soccer, of the movies, no, and the French people are known because the romance and the culture and the food and the glamour, and that kind of things impact on us. Now, for example, we have the impact of Oktoberfest, for example. We have the impact of Halloween or Valentine Days. But we saw a lot of Turkish novels. We saw a lot of Indian movies. We have a lot of interaction with Africa or Australia in the different cultures, you know. Uh, and Latin America is trying, or the Spanish people, for example, something is very used to a holiday like Todos Santos in Mexico. For him, Bolivia is very important, not the Day of the Dead. No, and with the movies like, for example, Coco of Disney, I think everybody is going to know about a little bit of the Day of the Dead in the world. And you have interaction, and if you are seeing how the Latino is, a people who love to dance, and people who love to party, a people who love to laugh, no, a people very trustful, hospitality, and then you are having this kind of interaction all the time because of the network, of the social networks, of the community, of the people, you know. I am talking all the time. In a month, I talk with different professors all around the world, you know, and I have to understand how they think, but I don't change my way to be. Now, for example, I say hugs from Bolivia, you know, and maybe someone in different areas say, oh, this guy is telling me hugs, no? And they even know me. But right now they understand I am a Latino and I am saying hugs, you know, and they tolerate this. You know? One thing I learn more about the culture and global citizen is from Dubai. They have a lot of for business, you know, because the Arabic people are very conservative and they have a lot of rules, you know, for the religions and stuff. And you could have a lot of troubles if you don't understand the values of the rules of an Arabic people on Dubai, for example, no. But right now they are very open-minded, no. They say we are agree your religion, your way of life, you all your culture is very glad that you be here. If you respect our laws, you could be from anywhere, and you come here to make business. And they are very tolerating about that, no? And it is very simple. If you go everywhere, you have to see how is the main rule there, and try to respect that, no? If you change, for example, here in Latin America, in Bolivia, it's very used to be very often to see people, for example, in the streets dancing, drinking, or something, no? But if you go to Switzerland, it's like you are going to be in jail, no? If you put loud music in a department, the next door is going to call the police, you know? And here in Bolivia, is you you know, if you are a very good neighborhood and there's a party there, maybe you are invited, you know, and you go there and you go inside. You say, hey, vecino, come on, party, come with us, you know, and that's it. But my main advice to you, and not to become a global citizen and to understand the culture and to develop a culture in a company, is first put a rules of what's being the main culture here, and the leader is the one who put together this. Not the leader of the company is the one who say what is the role of the culture of the company. For example, Steve Jobs, like you say, Georgie, Steve Jobs, one of the rules of them is think different. No? He believed on that. It was the purpose of the company. You have to think different, and if you want to be someone like everybody, you are not of the company. You are not part of the company. You have to be gone. No, you are fired. Please, you are thinking in how reduce cost. You are thinking in how to make more money. No, this company is thinking different, and that's the way of Apple. And many companies are like this. Now, for example, it was a program like Lazy Town. It was called Lazy Town. It was for kids, but the owner of the program, no, the developer of the program, create a huge culture in his show with the people who become part of the Lazy Town industry, no, the program and the TV show. And he says, when I go to a bathroom and I see a glass of water in the bathroom that is not his place, I fire someone, not the one who leave the glass there. The one who go was the left in go inside in the bathroom and not take the glass out of the bathroom, because that people doesn't aware that there is something wrong there. We hire people that are focused in the good things or do good stuff. No, if something is wrong there, make something to fix it, not leave the glass there because, oh, this is not my problem. That kind of people is not part of Lazy Town. And when I was in Valencia, I go to Damone and they think the same. Damone is the huge industry in milk, and when they say they put boxes there, no, and you are walking.
Danone, no? Danone.
Danone, yes, for the milk.
Yeah.
And you walk around and you see something there, and you not put that box in his place. It is not good point for you. Because we say in Danone, they say, we are here for helping to solve problems, not to leave the problems there. No, to be a people that have order in his life. And that is a way of everybody is thinking right now. And it was a concept of the Japanese people, the 5S, no, the Gemba Kaizen, the continuous improvement movement, no, the order, cleanness, standardize, and that's in everybody, in companies here in Bolivia is running right now, and that kind of things, my friends, you have to adapt to your company with different rules, with different aspects, but the leader is huge importance on that, and when you have that, you could create a company culture. The second thing that I'm going to advise you, we have a saying here. Tell me where are you, who are your friends, and I tell you who you are. No, dime con quién andas, and te diré quién eres. Tell me who you walking with, and I tell you who you are. Because the culture have impact in the people and the personality. And if you want to be happy or you want to be funny, you have to be with people that are funny, are happy, and they're impacting you. That's why I am living in a culture that have positive, positive activities in his culture, like envy, they are not willing to trust, they are negative, if you live there, you're going to have a little bit in you, and you have to work and change that, because the people like around you is that way. And that is going to be in your personality. Because if a German come to Bolivia and live here, he love to party, like to be like us, no, to food, and everybody say, hey, come on, my amigo, no? Because it's part of Bolivian culture that you could create in your company. You have to be together with people, no, that are positive, trying to hire that think like you, that have good values. And then in that company, everybody is going to be in a positive direction. If you not put that in mind when you're hiring people, and you put people only because your capacity or something, you don't know how it's going to become your company, because you are not putting focus in the values and the personalities and the beliefs and the thoughts like the leader has. That's my advice, dear Georgie, and I have to go right now because I have another meeting. It was very good to interact with you. I'm going to come in another meetings, maybe. Hugs from Bolivia always, and I hope to see you in the next program. Bye, my friends.
Thank you very much for your attendance and your rich experiences. No? So I can also add something what Sergio said about the Google culture. No? So the Google culture, for example, is that people are getting positive feedback. So they have a report, and you have a talk 1 or 2 times a year about your performance. And Google has a report on giving you 7 or 8 points positive and 1 or 2 criticism. Okay, so now Google is active worldwide. Like in Ireland, they have their European headquarter, and I think in Dublin, and some others. But for example, now Google is active in France. And French people are very direct in giving negative feedback. So they speak it out. No, this is not good, and I don't like it, and blah, blah, blah. But for the feedback report, and this is what Sergio said, Google said, hey, we might be in Paris with Google, but our managers needs to give 8 points positive feedback and 1 or 2 criticisms. So they need to adapt their French culture to the Google culture, because Google wants everywhere in the world that people get positive feedback within their evaluation and only less criticism. So this is part of their global DNA, their Google DNA, and so the French people needs to adapt. So this is something you need to think about. What kind of company is there? A global company or international, multinational, global, transnational? So we talked about the differences. But about okay, but how would we lead, and how would we like to present ourselves worldwide? So this is something to think about. Also, perhaps company of Tata, perhaps in India, that you might think about. Okay, but what exactly do they need? Yeah, do you also have an example? I mean, now Sergio said something, perhaps one person, that we can move on with some slides. I mean, we will have time also within the next week to have more discussion, interaction, but perhaps is there somebody who would like to share something from a trip or from an internship abroad where you said, okay, but this opens my eyes, this changed the way I behave, perhaps? Is there anybody? So any examples from abroad? Yeah, Ms. Müller, do you have any examples?
Yes, there are some small examples. For example, my boyfriend is Spanish. He's born also in Germany, but his complete family is Spanish. And every vacation we went to Spain, to a small, small city. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, you wake up and everyone, it doesn't matter if it's above you or below or on the other side of in another house, you hear everyone speaking with, I don't know, every neighbor. So you don't know where the voices came from.
Okay.
And yes, but now, I don't know, 2 years later, so I like it really. It's for me a sign of holidays. And yeah, so it's difficult as a German because here everyone is really, everything is quiet, and also in restaurants you can listen to each one, but in Spain it's really hard to understand them because everyone is talking. And yeah, that's some experience, for example.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, so the same is in Brazil. In Brazil, there's always music, like in Bolivia. People are making a festival in the evening, and you don't call the police because the next day the other neighbor is making a party. So it's every time. And then also my wife is saying the Germans, they do not open up their mouth when they talk. It's always small mouth. And the other one you can hear, you can listen to them. And because my wife is Brazilian, and so this is also that. I mean, it could be stressy, like I said. I mean, the table, 6 people are there, 6 people are talking. It could be very strange in the beginning, and so it is a little bit louder. The noise is louder. Everything. The music is also louder than in Germany. I mean, you think you are in a discotheque, but this is a way of how they deal. So, I mean, here in Mexico, I have not experienced, but I have not seen so much from the city center. I'm a little bit outside, but this is a real part of it. Okay. Yeah, thank you very much, Ms. Miller. I think we will move on. I think also some people left perhaps from India because of the time, because it's also getting, but we will only do a couple or perhaps 10 more minutes. And like I said, we have also next week. I will give you the exact time because we start a little bit earlier, but perhaps you can also connect. Dimensions of cultures. So the point is that we talked about organizational culture, national culture, a little bit of differences, and now we have also some dimensions. So how can we compare? There's the study of Hall, of Hofstede, and Erin Meyer. So let's focus on it. So there are even more, but in the 80s, people from Netherlands, they started to look at, Dutch culture is like this, but what are the others? So for example, Hofstede did a big research, but only with one company, with IBM, International Business Machine. IBM is International Business Machines, but worldwide. He had access to middle managers, lower managers, workers, and then he developed his model. But before we will start with Hall, and Hall, so it was also in the 1980s, and Hall differentiates between how do people perceive time, how do people perceive space, and how do people perceive context. And now I'm telling you exactly what is meant by these 3. So time is something like a monochronic interpretation or polychronic. So monochronic is a little bit perhaps what we use in Germany, but also Northern Europe. We are going to do things step by step, one thing after the other. So I'm going to the slides and I'm going and I'm showing you exactly what we do, how we do it. And so so I'm not talking about the past, I'm not talking about the future. We are here in present, and we're doing one thing at a time. We're not doing multitasking. I mean, women can do it, but not different things. But for example, when we have people with a polychronic understanding of time, they are also doing different things at once, or they're not following one agenda for 1 or 2 hours, but they're doing 10 minutes this, 20 minutes another one, 30 minutes another, then they return to number 1. So not so, like we would say in Germany, not so focused, not so being within one area. So in Brazil, when you talk with some people, after 10 minutes, they say, outra coisa, another issue. And the same thing, okay, we talked about this, and now we talk about a complete different area, but what has the first one with the second one to do? Nothing. So they are switching the topics. They stay with strategy, and then the next one is football, the other one is in family, and then you would say, like in Germany would say, hey, why couldn't we stay in one area which is related to each other? But they are putting any arguments inside, and you said, okay, but who is right? Nobody. Polychronic, they are used to it. They are talking about the past, the future, the present, everything is within one meeting. And so this is exactly that you would say it is strange, but how would you lead as a German somebody from South America when they are talking about different issues? And we are not used to it. We are straight, we are going step by step, one thing after the other. So it could be very complicated. So here there are the differences between monochronic and polychronic. Plants are kept in monochronic, It is a low context communication. So I will tell you something about in the next minute what is low context and high context. So one thing is more family oriented, so polychronic. So Bolivia from Sergio is polychronic, and I am originally from a monochronic society. So where it's not about where it's more about work-life balance. So you work, and in your free time you meet other people, not the people from the job, and these issues. But in polychronic it's completely different. You got invited in a house, perhaps you're doing some things at the weekend. You're not talking always about the jobs, but you talk, oh, I did not sleep well, my kid has some problems in the school, do you have an advice? This you wouldn't talk with your other employees in Germany. So they said, hey, sorry, I need to do my job. I cannot talk about now the family or the kids. Perhaps go to a doctor, but I don't know what to do. Yeah? So they're not interested also. They might answer you, but they are not really interested. They would like to work the 8 hours, and then they would like to do other stuffs, and this is part of the culture. Okay, space orientation. So do you have a smartphone from your employer, so 24/7, or that you said work is from 9 to 7, and 7:15, I'm not looking in my emails, I'm not checking my smartphone, and I don't care what's happening. Tomorrow morning I will be there again. So is it private sphere or the other one? The other thing is also about the space. So Sao Paulo on Sunday is crowded in the city center, but in Germany you see less people walking around, perhaps in some specific places, but normally people are at home and relaxing, but I mean, some people take a walk, it's clear, but not just like now it is animation, no? But this is in Sao Paulo completely different. Yeah, also how close people come to you to talk with you. So perhaps you know some of the Africans, they are very loud and they are only 1 meter in front of you, and you said, hey, please go a little bit, keep a little bit of distance. I'm feeling not comfortable to talk when somebody is so close. So this is also related to this space orientation. Now we have context, high context, and low context cultures. So I will explain it to you, and then I have a small video also. I hope it works. So Germans are, or people from US, America, Central, Northern Europeans, they are in this low context cultures. So I'm telling you exactly what to do. So you need to do 4 to 5 texts, individual learning. Then you have a group learning. You need to do a case study. You're there for this, you have probably 3 or 4 days to do the group work. Our next session is next week. The topics are, I'm sending you an email with text you need to do. So precise information, very, very precise and detail oriented. This is low context. In Germany, sometimes we have meetings. And after the meetings of 2 hours, somebody is writing a protocol. Yeah, Mr. Ruby needs to do this, Mr. Schmidt needs to do this, and this, there's a timeline, precise informations, low context orientations. There's nothing in between the lines. When I'm not there and somebody else is reading my emails, they know exactly what's happening. This is low context. The other thing is high context, Asia, Arabian. This is a little bit more, people know each other. People are spending time. People are going out for bowling, for karaoke bar, going to have some drinks. They know each other. They don't need to talk everything explicitly loud out. So it's more layered. The communication is more layered. So the point is now how difficult it is when you have somebody who is coming from a low context going into or having some conversation with somebody in a high context culture. So low context culture is trust built. You're doing your work, you communicate good, I trust you. In Germany, everything is task-based. You have a work, when you do the work, I trust you. In Latin America or even in Asia, it's, I know your family, I got invited, I know the people you are hanging around, I trust you. But the work is not the most important thing. It is important, but not most important is I like you, I like to work with you, so I trust you. So this is completely different. So let me try to give you a short video. So we don't have, we are only just for maximum 10 minutes here that you know that after this that we close the session for today. But I would like to show you, hopefully it works, the video of high and low context communication. So okay. So please tell me then, wait a second. Yeah, so please tell me then if the video, if you can listen to it. Wait a second. If you can listen to the voice.
In a low context society,
Yes, it works.
It works, okay. So it's only for 4 minutes, and then we have 5 minutes and then finishing, so that you just know. So only 10 minutes more.
while we are communicating, we assume that we have a low level of shared context. What does that mean? It means that we don't have the same reference points or the same body of knowledge or relationships, that we have a low level of shared context. So in a low context society, we believe that good, effective professional communication is a communication that's very explicit, that's very simple and very clear. In a low context society, we're trained that if I want you to understand blue, then I have to say blue, literally. We're trained in a low context culture that if I give a presentation, I should tell you what I'm going to tell you, and then I should tell you, and then I should tell you what I've told you. Why do I tell you the same thing 3 times? Because we're focused overall on making sure that the message was passed simply and clearly. In a high context society, while we're communicating, we assume or consider that we have a larger body of shared context, that we have the same reference points, body of knowledge, information. And because we assume all of this shared context, in a high context society, we believe good, effective communication is a communication that's more implicit or layered or nuanced. I had a German individual who said to me, you know, Erin, in Germany, at the end of a meeting, we almost always do a recap. First, we do a verbal recap, and then we do a written recap. That's low context, right? Clarification, clarification, clarification. He said, now that I've been working frequently with the French, I often find that at the end of a meeting, I'll get ready to do a recap, and my French colleagues will just stand up, and someone will say, et voila, there it is. And I'll think to myself, but voila, what? And then I'll be very surprised to see that it just seems that people know what's been decided, that they know what's supposed to happen next, without going through all of those levels of clarification that I'm so used to in my own culture. I had a second example. I was doing some work a while ago in Istanbul, and I had a Turkish client who was telling me about all of these issues that he was having with his new American boss. And I said, when your boss was here, did you tell him what you're telling me now? And he said, well, you know, Erin, I made it known so that he could see it if he wanted to see it. And I thought to myself, he probably didn't see it, right? I'll give you a third example from China. I was giving a presentation at a conference in China last year, and all the people in the room worked for the same multinational American company. Before I worked with him, the chairman, who was this American from New York City, gave a presentation that went very well, and then he left. Afterwards, when I was working with the group, we were talking about this, and I had the Chinese human resource director raise his hand, and he said, you know, Erin, this concept is very interesting to me, because the whole time the chairman was talking, I was trying to make sure that I was listening with all of my senses, that I was picking up all of the levels of meaning that he might be trying to pass. Now that I look at this, I'm asking myself the question, is it possible that there was no meaning beyond that, you know, first those simple words that he was saying? And I thought to myself that that chairman would have been really surprised to not think that anyone was trying to understand his message beyond the first degree.
Yeah. So this was an example of this low and high context communication. So I'm rapidly going through Hofstede's model now, because when we have next week's meetings, then we are similar to the class I've given this morning. That we have a good basic of all of the students, and then I'm putting you into groups what you need to read. So you don't need to communicate with the others, but I'm just building the groups for the next week, that you know when we are having breakout rooms, what you are talking about. When we look at one of the most famous of cultural differences, cultural dimensions, here it is called the author of Hofstede. So we had him a couple of times today. The culture onion and some other parts, the definition of this collective programming of the mind, everything is from Hofstede. So Hofstede had 4 dimensions in the beginning, and then later 2 more. The 5th and the 6th, the long-term orientation and indulgence, came later. So what are they about? Individualistic, collectivistic cultures. The most individualistic cultures are United States, United Kingdom, Australia, Ireland. So these 4 are very high on individualistic, so looking on yourself, and not so much group-oriented like India or South America. Acceptance of power distance. So can you disagree? So the lowest level have they in Netherlands, in Denmark, and in the Nordic countries, Sweden, Iceland. So you can disagree. It depends on the way you are. But the highest one you have perhaps also in Mexico, in China, Japan. So you have a high power distance. Masculinity versus femininity. It's a little bit about the character of the leader. Is it more masculine, so not showing much emotions, being straight? So I would put in Angela Merkel there as well, as in the definition here of being more masculine, so being more straight. Uncertainty avoidance. Very, very relevant in Germany, making commercials, giving quality signals, giving the price. The Germans are very low on uncertainty avoidance. They want full information. The same as with Japan. It might also be because of Second World War lost, that they don't know, do I have something to eat tomorrow? What's happening in the future? Which are so they are high on uncertainty avoidance. So low on uncertainty avoidance is United States and China. They are going all in. They have a new project. They believe in the issues. Some of them are not skeptical. They invest, and this in a short period of time. Long-term orientation. Do you spend the money now, or do you keep your money to build a house, to have a good pension, and not to take the money into the discotheque or in a nice car, but more conservative? Indulgence versus restraint. Is it allowed to have success and to show it in the society? So am I allowed to buy a Porsche and to drive there that everybody can see it? Or is it perhaps better to be a little bit more quiet and having money, but not driving on the Ocean Drive Boulevard, or in Germany at this famous road of Königsallee, so this King Street, to show up? So we have here differences between Germany and China, for example. So the power distance in Germany is, with respect to China, very low. So in China, you cannot contradict your boss. You need to do what the boss is telling you. Individualistic, collectivistic. So Germany is also more individualistic and not so collectivistic, group-oriented. Masculinity, femininity is equal. Uncertainty avoidance, I told you. Germans are skeptical. They want different informations about the reliability of the machine, the quality, how often is it tested, the product. So they want more facts. They don't trust you. They don't trust your words. They want facts. Pragmatism, this is long-term orientation, is more or less equal. And indulgence versus restraint, showing up success. So that how many billionaires do you know from China? How many billionaires do you know from United States? No? So the United States would be here perhaps on 60 to 70 with a value. No? So just that you can see the differences. No? So the point is that when we are having a mixed team of people with a low level and a high level, so in some things you are part of the decision making, in some others not. So here you can see the complexity when, for example, somebody works from Germany together with from India or with somebody from Brazil. No? So this high and low value. No? So power distance in Germany is mostly in the middle. And when you work in Mexico, like me, here there is a higher value. No? So it is like the boss is making the decision, and I said, okay, I accept it. I cannot say anything against it. Otherwise, I'm getting conflicts and problems. Uncertainty avoidance, yeah. So the high value in Germany. No? So people must be persuaded. They are resistant to change. Yeah, individualistic and feminine and masculinity. No? So you also have here from Hofstede some kind of cluster. So who is within one group? So 6 dimensions. So when you would like to get to know, yeah, okay, but how many combinations are this? It's 6 faculty. So you have a lot of different ones. Here they have, for example, uncertainty avoidance with masculinity index. Now, and perhaps we can look. So Germany is in the bottom right. It's a little bit at the top of the bottom right, but and when you look perhaps where is India positioned? IND is India, so it's also on the right, but it's more above. When we compare these 2 dimensions, no? So on the other chart, we have, for example, individualistic cultures and power distance. So where is India located here? Let me check. There's Pakistan. There's so many. Have you seen India? Here it is. Okay, so top right, but with 48%, and then you can see perhaps Germany on the bottom left. So there are some differences, no? By the data set of Hofstede. Okay, so we are now, let me check this one. We will have some group works. Perhaps we will go back to some of the slides, only 1 or 2 with the group issues here, like this one here we will do next week in the groups, and the other one in the groups here, this one. Yeah. Okay, so do you have any questions? Otherwise, I'm going to close the session. I mean, there are now a little bit less people here, seven, but is there anything which you would like to ask, or if there's something was not understandable or anything unclear?
No, sir, nothing. I do not have nothing. I do not have anything.
Okay. Yeah, anybody else? Ms. Müller, is everything clear so far?
Yes, I think everything is clear.
Okay, so next week it will be earlier. No? So I'm giving you this evening or tomorrow, latest tomorrow. I mean, it is about the time difference, but tomorrow you will get to know with whom you are in the groups, what you need to read, but only reading. And the next week you discuss it within your group about the text and about your perception, your experiences, and that you interact with the other cultures and about building trust, about negotiation, about high and low text context communication with examples, and that you get to know the other participants here. Okay, so I would say then thank you for today. The next session is much more interactive with you, so it is not so much with me. I'm more the moderator, and you have to do the readings, and then you need to discuss in your group. Okay, we would like to present some points. You agree on some points. So this is what we do about next week. Yeah, thank you very much, and greetings from Mexico then.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So it is recorded. I will send it again into the chat.
Okay, sir.